What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 217. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brian Manjoma.
That part when Mary Jane turned out to be Mysterio was amazing in Into the Spider-Verse.
Brett Murdoch.
Not as cool as when they made an appearance when Thing made a cameo.
And Adam Vale.
They should make Slipknot the movie.
You mean the guy who could climb anything?
To do anything, do it all.
Oh, man. Every time I think of Slipknot, I think of that guy, from fucking Suicide Squad.
Her name's Katana.
Her sword steals the souls of all its victims.
Oh my god!
By the way, that's By the way, that was a modern RoboCop. That was reboot RoboCop.
That was reboot RoboCop. Yeah, just
that was. Oh,
yeah.
That movie sucked.
So did Suicide Squad.
Yeah, trash. All right, I don't really have any crazy intros here. We're gonna get right into it, man. It's gonna be crazy. All right, Mr. G Megaforce 123 starts us off with: are Japanese games more memorable than Western games? Loaded question, son.
Ooh.
Nope.
I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah,
No.
I would say as memorable. I wouldn't say more memorable.
No, I wouldn't say they were more memorable. I don't know, because there's definitely a lot of Western games that are quite memorable. I think there's just one thing about it is that I think a lot of Western games kind of choose the sort of the less crazy route than a Japanese title will choose. Like you can't name very many titles on the Western side that is on the level of a Killer 7, Nobi Nobi Boy, or a bunch of other games that are kind of uniquely Japanese. But I think that's the quirkiness that comes from those Japanese games because of where they're made.
Yeah, I kind of don't understand the question too much.
I think he's implying that a lot because there's at least there are a lot of Japanese games that are very kind of weird and unique, and he's trying to say that that those are might be somewhat more memorable than Western games, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, and also you can also take it another way, sort of, are Japanese narratives more memorable than Western narratives? And I don't either way, the way Manny explained it or this one, I don't really see one over the other, like one standing out over the others. Like there are standouts on both aisles.
Yeah, I was going to say this seems like more of a eye of the beholder type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's what it really is.
I get the impression that he's kind of making more a statement on the sameness of Western games.
Well, that's the sameness of Western games it only exists in the realm of the fact that a lot of game companies are not going to take any chances. You look at also the reason why a lot of those Japanese games can be so kind of kooky and weird is, number one, they probably didn't cost as much as a Western game to make. I mean, as much as everybody loves Persona 5, right? Persona 5 did not cost nearly as much as let's say something as The Last of Us.
Yeah,
Persona 5 is granted it's they'd spent some money on it, but I don't think it's essentially a middleware game.
Yeah, it's interesting because a game like Persona 5 probably would be like it is AAA for Japanese standards for sure, but for us it would be a lower budget type of title.
Same thing with Nier Automata.
Yeah,
in other words, it's a middleware. And
Yakuza, Yakuza, any of those games. By the way, because this guy rarely shows up on the Twitch live, I got to give a shout out to Techno Fabulous. We got to hit him with Call of Duty. Pew pew pew.
So yeah, like I definitely think like the one thing of that helps experimentation and doing weird things is having a lower budget. And if you notice, the ones that have the lower budgets are also the ones that just take everything kooky and weird. because they can do that. But then you notice the things that the things that are really the high budget things, and they're very safe. The last Final Fantasy game, as cool as it was, pretty damn safe.
Yeah, I will say this though. We've talked about this before. Japanese soundtracks are more memorable, though. I'll say that for sure. But that's because they're trying to purposely have themes, whereas Western soundtracks are more about trying to be like a movie soundtrack, where the music is more to enhance the experience than to stand out. But yeah, no. Other than that, it's like overall, generally, no, I wouldn't say they're more or less memorable. Again, it depends on what type of person you are. You know.
Yeah, because like that just totally prefers Japanese games or totally prefers Western games.
Yeah,
there are things that each do. I don't think we're comparing apples to apples here. There are things that Japanese games do really well, and there are things that Western games do really well. They're not carbon copies of each other. Each has its own distinct cultural flavor. I would almost hazard to say like Western games tend to bank on a more cinematic approach, which tends to make them really good at building ambiance and things like that. Japanese games tend to be really good at building a very large narrative and world building and keeping that world building interesting. They have more flavor to the games, but I think a lot of subtlety can be lost in it. If you're talking about a game, honestly, and there are exceptions to every rule, but if you're talking about a game where somebody produced a very grounded, gritty, realistic, living, breathing world with really complicated NPC interactions and mechanics to make it feel like you were actually living in a real world, I'd probably tell you that's probably going to be more of a Western game that's going to focus on that.
Japanese games, you're definitely right. Japanese games are not afraid of being very gamey either.
No,
like whereas a lot of Western games are literally trying to almost create a sort of recreate reality, as in like people pick up every single item off the ground. They don't just walk over them and then they just instantly appear in their menu.
I think you kind of hit on the head. It's like they each bring to the table something so unique that it's not fair to compare them as far as like memorability goes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that's pretty much it. It's like they're too different to really compare. But at the same time, I could understand if you're a person that likes one game over another, or Eastern versus Western. I could understand if you're like that, but you also have to understand that they both bring different things to the table.
I mean, you definitely making a. I don't think just like. I don't think that Japanese game companies are fully able to make something like a Western game. They're only able to make their version of what a Western game is. That's where you see like games like Devil May Cry and stuff like that, where you have these kind of like cartoon American characters, where they're just not. It's like it's supposed to be an American, but it's obviously like a Japanese vision of what an American is supposed to be.
Yeah, and as we've seen in like recent years, Japanese games tend to do better when they just embrace their Japanese-ness. They don't even try to be Western, and that's a good thing.
There's a very unique flavor that comes from Japanese reimagining or Japanese interpretation of European, like Middle Ages kind of thing, like everything from like Attack on Titan to like Guts and Berserker, that kind of thing. Like especially like the Souls games, like there's not really anything quite like Japanese interpretation of medieval Europe. It's weird, but it works.
Yeah, no, that's also true. I was more thinking about when they try to make Western games specifically. Like, I keep forgetting the name of this game, but it was their take on Gears of War. It's like you had a guy that threw a girl and stuff.
Was that Quantum something or?
Yeah, he threw like a ghost girl.
Yeah,
that game was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Like when they try to do stuff like it's like, okay, guys, no, this is not how you do it. But you're right. When it's like when they're taking even like Metal Gear, right? Like that's their take on military games.
Yeah, it's their take on military games and also their take on like Western history.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, granted, as close as well researched as Metal Gear is, there are things that are just obviously things that would have never happened in the 80s or the 70s or something like that. Like, America was not that connected to Japan, but yet and all you find cup noodles everywhere, and what's her face knows all about cup noodles and stuff like. It's like, no, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but you could tell it's just them injecting Japanese stuff in there.
Oh yeah, it is them. Because they're obviously also want to get a little bit of sort of relatability within there. So it's like that's why you'll find silly things like calorie made inside of Metal Gear Solid 3. It's like, yes, it did exist at that time, but it didn't exist up there in Russia.
Yeah,
Sitting in a jungle in Russia. Ooh.
Yeah, or
a jungle in Russia.
Yeah, exactly. Or Kuwabara. It's like no one's saying that shit.
No, nobody says that, but it means something to the people in Japan. But I mean, a Russian guy knowing a term as like that, Kuwabara, no, he wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man, let's go on to the second question here. Do you remember the first time you heard a video game talk? That game for me was the title screen for Blades of Steel. That shit blew my fucking mind. Mind you, my only exposure to games up until that point was crappy NES games, and a random assortment of Atari games, and some pirated Coleco games on cassette tape. I guess he's trying to say, when was the first time, or what was the first game you remember where there was an actual voice in there? Like, oh shit, like that's cool.
Blades of
Street Fighter.
Steel. That's how
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Yeah, you remember no, not that. It was when they at the credits, it would be like, "I wish you good luck." That
the first one
Rise from your grave.
Yeah, that's the first one I remember.
Alter
Like, Rise
Beast.
from your grave. Like, oh
That's
shit,
big, Alter Beast.
crazy.
Rise from your grave.
Of course,
The first one, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Super Mario Brothers 3, where I think Mario's reading the letter from Peach, and I think at the end it says Peach. Does anybody remember that?
No, that
Double
was
Dragon. I remember.
No, that was Super Mario. That was Super Mario
World
64. That said Peach at the end.
Oh, was that Super Mario? Okay, never
Yeah, it
mind.
was 64. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm tripping.
But if you guys remember back in the old days, a lot of arcade games had a bunch of voices.
Yeah.
Like
the
Spider-Man. I think I remember the Spider-Man game had voices in there.
How about Captain America and the Avengers?
Yes.
Lose.
Yeah, when they died.
X-Men. Remember?
X-Men.
Oh, welcome to die.
You're welcome to die.
Welcome to die. Kill you.
Even Mortal Kombat's finishing.
Mortal Kombat. Finish.
Well, I feel like at that point in time, like we were a little used to it, but I'm like in like the Sprite days and stuff like that. When you hear those games talking, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
I don't know. What really amazed me was when we got to Sega CD and we saw all those FMV games. That's what really got me.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Because it was like, wait a minute, this isn't just voice work. This is actual footage. These are real actors. Is that Corey from freaking
Double Switch?
Double Switch,
Double
by the way, is
Switch,
out now. By the way.
Yeah. So I'm like, that remember when we got that, Manny? When that came in? I mean, what was that one we played in Texas? It was like some monster.
Ground Zero, Texas.
Oh,
That was the Ground Zero. We beat that shit the day I got it. We were like, this is fucking amazing.
That's the one where when your stepfather said, "Yo, you already done with that game?"
Yeah, he got it for me, and then he was all happy, but like, yeah, I got this. I got him this really good game, and then he came in the room. How is it? We're like, we're at the end. What? I just got that shit. He did not want to hear that.
Yeah, a sketch says double dribble for him.
Double dribble.
That was one of my earliest too. A lot of the NES sports games, the menus spoke.
I'm not sure.
John Madden talked in one of them too early on.
Now, do we count those?
John Madden.
Those were all like super muffled and distorted. We like kind of got used to that. What if we like kind of take it more of like, this is the first time like you remember hearing like a real voice, not like a.
Hey, that's
Well, the Bayou Billy had a really good one. The Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Yeah. But even the Blades of Steel, that was very clear and it was slow. It was like Blades of Steel.
It had a little,
I think
shimmer noise.
Hardball spoke. Like, welcome to Hardball or something like that.
Yeah, like you're right. A lot of the sports games had voices, or they tried.
Especially for the intro of it.
Or you remember like it was Hardball the one that had the play-by-play too.
Yeah.
That had the digital voice that did the play-by-play.
Yeah, but you're right about that. Like, because you're right, man. When Mortal Kombat came out, we were already used to that. So
we already used it.
So what was it? What was it before that got us used to it?
I mean, I would say like
the voices in Mortal Kombat were not the big standout for people. It was the realistic graphics.
But I mean, I mean that's why I said the original Street Fighter.
Yeah,
because that one.
Yeah,
That one had the little talking at the end, you know, like
Yeah. Because
even though with that weird digital voice.
Because I also wanted to throw in NBA Jam, but again, we were already used to that by then.
No, we were already used to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were impressed with how many different things that the guy would say, though. You know, be like, boom, shakalaka. Michael Jordan. No, he wasn't in it.
No, he wasn't in it.
Patrick Ewing. Just be like that.
Man, that is dead on.
It was
Something
very
like that.
loud too in the arcade. I remember walking into it and you could hear it, like from wherever it was. It was like, oh, it's that damn fucking basketball game. It's always so loud. Boom,
On start.
He's on fire.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
By the way, that guy follows me on Twitter now.
Oh shit!
And I was because of the. Remember when we had Cicero on? He talked about how they had him on Spawn on me. So him and I were talking about that on Twitter, and then the guy decided to follow me. So that's kind of fun.
He was like, boom, shakalaka.
Hey, maybe we get him on Throwdown one day. Wink, wink. We'll see what happens. You know. All right, man. Moving on. By the way, Glorious. Well, go ahead, Brett.
Kind of in the spirit of the question, the whole like, when it was the first time you're like, damn, I gotta say, original Command and Conquer with a full like cutscenes, full FMV.
Yeah, that was
cutscenes.
crazy.
Like it was cool in Sega CD, but it was only a bunch of those jammed together, and I played Dragon's Quest before, so that was kind of like meh. And you know I could see it for what it was, but with Command and Conquer it was actually part of the game, and I remember being like, holy shit, there's like fully recorded actors and shit like talking to me, fucking awesome.
Yeah, I remember because I played. That's the only RTS I ever played. I didn't like the game, but I kept playing because I wanted to see the cutscenes. They were so cool. You know, the Nod and Kane and all that. It was fucking crazy.
Kane.
Yeah, Kane was the man. Remember Kane?
Kane is the shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know, it's funny because he was the one of the. I think he was the sound director or something like that on the show on Command and Conquer.
Like I played through that just so I could see the cutscenes, just to like see Kane. You know, it was great.
Yeah, that's why everybody played Nod. Like this is pretty much like playing Cobra. All your weapons and vehicles are fucking sweet, and you talk to Kane. Who's playing GDI really? No one.
Hey, by the way, Glorious War, are those two questions in one or one question? Don't either way. I got you. I got your question here. I just don't want to know if that's all one question or if they're two questions. Because they kind of seem like they're two questions. I could be wrong about that, or I could just be misinterpreting the question, like I usually do. All right. Next up, Mr. Matt Wheaton here. So his first question is, what would you consider the hardest video game ever made? Not bullshit hard, just challenging to the point it tests you as a gamer. I want to know
the Mega Man games.
Yeah,
Mega Man.
Mega Man's.
I would say
Ghouls
the
and Ghosts.
first Mega Man was pretty.
Mega Man is, but that I think that would fall under his definition of crazy hard. Where it's like unfair hard. Like think about this. Yeah, I know. Just before I, move on, like think about this in Mega Man. Like enemies shot missiles that would home in on you specifically. Afterwards, every missile had a specific pattern you could at least ascertain. So I think Mega Man 1 counts as bullshit hard. Anyway, Chris, go on, man.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, Ninja Gaiden for NES falls in that category. I mean, it was stupid hard, that game. Blaster Master was really challenging. I mean, more so than Castlevania or anything else. Like that game was ridiculous.
Ghouls and Ghosts, man. Let's just throw it in there right now.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
Till this day,
man.
The easiest version of that was Maximo, which was super fun. But
just
that
get
was
that shit in there, man.
Ghouls and Ghosts, fucking hard as 2-day-old poopy.
I still have trauma dreams from that game.
Yeah, like dudes out here saying, "Oh, it's as hard as Dark Souls." No, say it's as hard as Ghouls and Ghosts. Then you'll fucking impress me.
Yeah, no. As a lover of Dark Souls, Ghosts and Ghouls way fucking harder. Way harder.
Brutal, man.
Yeah.
Nightmarish.
Actually,
that was actually one thing I was saying while I was playing Dark Souls. People were like, "Man, this game's hard." Like, y'all never played Ghosts and Ghouls, did you?
Yeah, you can actually beat Dark Souls if you're really committed. Ghosts and Ghouls, no, you probably won't never beat that shit.
Yeah.
I like the way everybody's like flipping around Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Ghouls.
Yeah, well, that's their fault. By the way, and then the funny thing is when you beat the fucking game, the game's like, yeah, by the way, all that shit you went through, nah, that wasn't even the real game, man. Now the real shit's hard, and it's gonna be even fucking harder. It's like, oh my god, are you kidding me now?
If you quantify it by who's beaten the real game, like nobody.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we all agree on that one. But do we agree on the title though? Is it Ghosts and Ghouls and Ghouls and Goblins?
Ghosts and Super
Ghosts and
Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins.
There were two versions actually, weren't there? And one was Ghosts and Ghouls, and the other was Ghouls and Goblins.
It's like Super Nintendo and all that.
Well, Super Nintendo was Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and Ghosts and Goblins was the Sega one and the Nintendo one, as I remember.
Okay.
Either way, those games are fucking hard. And of course, we cannot fail to talk about Battletoads. Although I think that may fall in the category of bullshit hard.
I think Battletoads is actually, and I hate to say it, yeah, bullshit hard, man.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit hard. You know, by the way, other games that fall into the category of bullshit hard, the first Ninja Turtles game on NES, that was bullshit hard. You know? Yeah. Like, come on, guys. Like, Ghouls and Ghosts is like, yeah, it's fucking hard, but you could get through it, you know, if you're really, really, really dedicated.
I could never get past the stupid underwater section of that game. Where you defuse the bombs.
Oh, with the electric seaweed.
And Battletoads for me it was the speeder chase shit underground. Like I can't fucking do this shit, man.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You know what's funny? You know which one is actually a lot easier? The arcade version of Battletoads.
Oh yeah, Battletoads.
Interesting.
Arcade is way easier. Yeah,
because you keep putting quarters in there.
Well, no, it's actually a lot easier in general.
Yo, the MAME version.
But yeah, can you imagine popping quarters to the NES version, man? You'd be broke.
Yeah, you'd be broke.
Man.
You'd be broken. Yeah, you'd be broken in 5 minutes.
People wouldn't play.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Your NES open and get get your quarters back.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Was it Chris who said Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah.
Yeah, NES Ninja Gaiden. Yeah.
I want to add on that the Xbox version of Ninja Gaiden was borderline bullshit difficult. Just because of I vividly remember one boss battle where you had to go in and fight like a fucking tank, and you get done with the tank and you're like awesome, and then they're like now 2 tanks. You're like, are you fucking kidding me? It makes you fight 2 tanks, and they're like, and now an Apache helicopter. Like, is there an autosave between any of this? No.
Yeah, that shit was fucking crazy, man.
There's a Batman game. I don't remember if it was for the NES or the Super NES, where like. There's the only ways you can proceed in the game through the map is by shit that doesn't make sense. Like I think there was this one part of a level where you have to press down and a combination of other buttons
that sounds like the NES. Yeah.
In a random ass place.
No, I mean it might be that stupid Batman Forever game.
I think it might have been Batman Forever.
For Nintendo, yeah.
The one that looked like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the one that looked like there was a weird. I distinctly remember being something similar to that. What he's talking about there.
And interesting. That was just bullshit, man. But also want to mention Cuphead. Cuphead was a good.
Cuphead is pretty brutal. And it's not bullshit hard either. You know.
Yeah.
Well, some people might think it's bullshit.
Well, you mean the guys who touted the game and then never finished it. You know?
Oh, that was just the tutorial.
You mean the ones that were angry? The ones that were so angry that they wanted to see the story, but they couldn't actually play through the game. Those guys.
Oh man, don't get me started. All right. The next question. By the way, I told Matt to send me another question because we kind of already answered this on our stream, but he didn't update it, so we're gonna answer it. What are your thoughts on the Resident Evil 2 remake? Demo, specifically the demo. He wants to know what our thoughts are. Again, we have half an hour of Manny playing through it, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice little change from the way they did the things. It was different, but it still felt the same. Fun little Easter eggs in there though, like the way they re-switched the statue in the hallway to look like a Resident Evil Outbreak, and the other fun one was when you go into the offices, the police officer offices, and you notice that it says "Welcome Leon" or something like that. In the original game, it was it said "Welcome" with 2 L's. So it doesn't say "Welcome" with 2 L's, but if you look down, you notice that there's an L sitting on a desk. So it was spelt wrong, but somebody fixed it. So yeah, there was all kinds of fun stuff in there. What'd
you think of the demo though?
I thought the demo was cool. I mean, here's the thing. I even said this on the stream. I'm probably not going to buy the game right away because I'm all about that Kingdom Hearts. That's coming out I don't know, the week after Resident Evil. So I'll play Resident Evil 2 eventually. But I really enjoyed the demo. it was a nice little thing. And from what I'm told, the game actually kind of adjusts the difficulty to you, like the way Resident Evil 4 used to do.
Yeah.
So some things that didn't happen will happen, stuff like that.
Yeah. And again, you guys already know my thoughts. I played this at E3, and it was the same kind of demo. Only mine was in time. Yeah, it's fucking great. My most anticipated game 2019. I've said enough about it already. I can't fucking wait. Did anybody else in the chat get to play the demo?
Chris?
Yeah, I played it.
What'd you think, man?
Yeah, I thought it was great, man. They put in a lot of neat stuff, like Manny said, the Easter eggs. And also, I noticed the menu is very much like RE7. It looks exactly like the RE7 inventory. So that's cool. Like it's obviously continuing built off of that engine. The effects are great. Like when Leon picks up that guy's face.
Yeah,
Remember
that shit is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yo, that looks so goopy and cool. Like I was like, shit, man, it's gonna be gory as hell. I can't wait for the whole thing.
Yeah, Chris, you were playing. You were like, "It's so real."
It's so real.
Yeah. Oh, I can't fucking wait, man.
I'll go full Sammy Sosa when I get the full game.
All right. Anybody else in here play it?
I played it.
What'd you think?
It's fun. It's just, I'm sort of like with the Manny thing. It's like I'm not. At least for me, it's not about Kingdom Hearts, but I'm just not feeling it for right now. One day I will, but I'm not in the mood to go back to that world.
We beat that game together.
Yeah.
I even said this on the stream that like I've never actually owned Resident Evil 2. Me and Adam played. Either you rented it. I think at the time you were working at Software Etc. And
and then I got a bunch of those, and then
you got a bunch of games. So like I think we beat that in a weekend, as I remember.
Yep.
Is this one VR compatible?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it is. Don't quote me on that.
No, but there's another mode in the game that some of the guys were talking about. Another camera mode. I don't know what the other camera mode is. If it's a first-person VR mode, that'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, that would be.
They did
nuts.
that with the last Resident Evil. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to play Psychopath Hillbillies. But that was just not my speed. But man, being able to play through Resident Evil 2 in full VR would be.
I haven't heard anything about it, but I mean that'd be kind of crazy. Or the alternate camera mode is playing Resident Evil 2 in the original camera angles.
There's a possibility that might be it.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on here to the next question from Mr. Black Metal Gamer. Hey, Black. I'm noticing a theme here, by the way. If Capcom nails in sales Resident Evil 2 remake, I'm guessing if Resident Evil 2 sells well, what would you want next from the franchise? Resident Evil 3 remake, Code Veronica remake, or Resident Evil 8?
I hear there's a rumor that they're already working on Resident Evil 3.
Excuse me?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Because just for the plain reason that officially you can't, like as of now, you can't play through all three original Resident Evil games. So that game is supposedly in the works too.
That's pretty. I haven't heard that. That's pretty interesting. But as for his question, I think I want Resident Evil 8 already. Like, just give me a sequel already to 7.
Here's an idea. How about a new Resident Evil 3? Kind of go back from where you're starting with 2 and go off in a bit different direction, focusing on Raccoon City.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking that's what they're probably going to do. They're going to like just like how this one is like an extension of the original game. Like in other words, it feels the same, but a lot has been changed.
Yeah. Okay. So make a sequel to Resident Evil 2 remake, basically, but expand on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think that's what the idea is, though.
They're going to steer the story and avoid 6 like the plague. Like, that never happened. And we'll just go right back to 7.
Just make them different worlds. Like, it's fine. Like, they did the Los Plagas story and everything that evolved from that. But that was such a large departure, and I never feel like they really put a pin in the whole T-Virus thing. So if they want to put it off into, like, the Plagas series and the T-Virus series, I'd actually be really happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, they could do that. That'd be cool. But yeah, I think I want Resident Evil 8. That'd be pretty good. But why not both, right? Why not both, too?
I would want Resident Evil 8, but I think what Capcom would do is remake Resident Evil 4. Because I think by far that's the most critically acclaimed. And
Yeah,
probably,
but I'm gonna say something potentially controversial. Actually, it's not. I don't think we need Resident Evil 4 to be remade. That game is already like perfect as it is. To be honest, like to me, it still holds up. That's it. Yeah, you could remake the graphics, but like gameplay wise, that game is fucking perfect. You know, at least to me.
I mean, but it's Capcom. They want the money.
Yeah, like Resident Evil 2, that game needed a remake because it looked hard. Resident Evil 1 they already had a nice remake years ago. So they just polished it up. Resident Evil 4 just hold on, Carlos, you fucked me up right now, son.
Oh, what was it?
Resident Evil 4 controls, story, everything's the same, but with the Resident Evil 7 engine. I'm done. I'm done, son. Dude.
Well, like, what if you did it like the way they did Shadow of the Colossus, man? Where they just essentially you got the original game running underneath the hood, and it's just got this fancy new veneer right on top of it. Plays exactly the same.
Don't say it. You're fucking me up right now, man. Just the possibility.
It's possible, man. Fucking.
I know it is possible. That's why I'm excited. Yeah, gotta have something.
I don't know that's something they would even need to like quote unquote work on in the sense that like we wouldn't hear a lot about its development. It would just be kind of a re-release / remaster. So in terms of like the actual question though, like what would you like them to spend their time really developing?
Oh no, Resident Evil 8. That's what I want.
Yeah, I want the sequel to 7.
Yeah,
I want them to move forward.
Hand the re-veneer over to Blue Point. They do good work.
Well, let me, can I actually ask you guys, what about 7 really gotcha?
No, it was fucking scary. It was fucking scary again. That's what got me.
It was scary again, but it seemed like such a different tone from the Resident Evil games. Did it steer back into the old the tone?
Here's what I think. Okay, so you didn't play. Here's the thing. What's interesting? Resident Evil 7 is like the first Resident Evil in the fact that it focuses on horror. It just focuses on a different type of horror. Understand? Like basically, Resident Evil 1 was trying to be like a B movie type of horror, right? But it was still genuinely scary. Resident Evil 7 brings back the genuine scariness, but for modern times.
Understand? Oh, I believe it. Like, it's starting to seem though that Resident Evil is more of a moniker for a series of anthologies than a long cohesive story. And I think it's almost treating itself like Final Fantasy. It's like I'm not really understanding, and I understand that there's tenuous connections between the stories, but it is a very different flavor from the rest of the series.
Yes, it is. Yeah, but it's a different flavor, but it's still horror. Excuse me. It goes back to the roots of horror, but it's not the same flavor, if you know what I mean.
It's like, I mean, to be honest, it's like the way I always see that idea with that game. Almost a little like the Resident Evil 4 one, because that Resident Evil 4 was also a huge departure from the previous games. As opposed to having shambling zombies in a little room, you had like an open space where it's literally crowds of these possessed people coming after you.
Well, I think it had to go back because Resident Evil 6 became like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
And it was completely off the rails. Like Resident Evil lost its way, and 6 proved it. So they needed to go back. Like you needed to go back to the big house with full of secrets and horrors in it. Like so they did it, and they did it very well, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this, since I have privileged panel asking questions.
Yes.
What between the Resident Evil 7 story, like let's put it into narratives, right? The Resident Evil 7 story, the Los Plagas storyline, and the T-Virus storyline. Like if they took the same back to basics horror approach, which story or which version of the universe would you really like to see expanded on?
I don't know how to answer this.
I don't mind the idea of it being different types of horror.
Yeah, I think that's my answer too. I'm like, I don't need. Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. When I go to play Resident Evil game, the story is not as important as the ambiance. You know what I'm saying? Like I know there's some people that try to make heads and tails out of the big narrative. I kind of don't care. I just want to see zombies and shoot zombies.
Or whatever horrors are in that world.
Yeah, like as long as the game is scary, I'm happy.
I mean, initially they give you everything you need. It's like, oh, big evil corporation has secret project that goes wrong, and you're in the middle of
what form does this secret project that goes wrong take this time around? Oh shit, it's zombie blobs.
Yeah, it's like as long as
it's always something that turns them into zombies. It's like, oh, it's a parasite, or oh, it's a virus, or oh, this time it's a spider, or it's a sideways glare. I don't know. And I kind of like that, and I kind of get that, but part of me is feeling
It's not like they're
it's
gonna
going.
do werewolves or anything like that. Oh, hey, look, the virus made werewolves. What?
And was it in like there was like departures between the franchise, and wasn't 6 like the one that's trying to connect all the dots?
It was trying to, and it did it badly. But yeah, Brett, what were you saying? Like, what is it that you want exactly?
Oh, I'd like to see, like, I loved how the T virus affected all of the organisms different. Like, I love the idea of a mutagenic viral disease, and it, you know, different populations, different parts of the world is fine, but I'd personally really like to see them pick up on the original Resident Evil T virus, even into the Nemesis stuff storyline. Like the idea that trying to create a mutagenic super weapon, like, seems cool. And like, I love the gameplay of 4, but the Los Plagas thing, like, man, it lost me. It kind of did. It was very. It had a different tone. It had a tone of religious zealotry and indoctrination. Like it was a big metaphor for like the pressures and the evils of religion, I think. And like I think each game, if you look at it artistically, like they do tell different stories, and they do kind of take different themes. I can't say about 7 though, because I didn't play 7.
Yeah, 7 is more like, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of feel, you know, House on Haunted Hill, shit like that, you know, like, you know, hey, there's a bunch of rubes in this crazy ass town, and they're doing some weird shit, you know. By the way, is somebody bouncing a ball in the background? What the fuck is that?
No,
noise?
they're using their mouse scroll thing.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, but it's a different feel. Like basically, yeah, you're right. It's interesting. Yeah, the first couple Resident Evil games had a very specific kind of tone. Then Resident Evil 4 started off, you know, and it became more action, and now they're trying to take it to another level. And I kind of like that they're doing their own different things, you know.
Well, I like the new direction that they took 7. I wasn't necessarily. I didn't understand the hillbilly cannibal thing. Like it kind of felt like it was going for a House of Eisen. I'm not really, or the Hills of Eisen. I'm not really a fan of those movies, kind of thing. But I personally would like. I'd like to see them take that approach, that very nuanced, slow, dragging, paying attention to details and ambiance approach. But I'd like to see them take it back. Like I think 2 is the best example of exactly where I like the mark to hit. Like it tells a story. It does a great job of world building. It's not giant fucking action packed, but it's still kind of branches off all the possibilities of all, you know, the things that the T virus can do. Even the original one was, you know, you saw these weird fucking like, here's what it does to snakes, and here's what it did to some fucking dogs, and here's what it did if it was administrated this way. And it, you know, I thought that was fun. I thought it was cool, and I'd really like to see them. And that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about Resident Evil 2 is I'm really excited to see them take that back to basics approach with that world.
Cool. All right. Where are we now? Okay, what old Capcom IPs could transition well into a modern game as a reboot? I'm thinking Strider with that sexy Resident Evil or DMC5 engine. Don't talk about Bionic Commando. I'm glad you bring that up because we don't need that. Trash.
Tried that, yeah.
Trash.
I mean, you know, it's interesting because the Strider game, you know, I mean, obviously
and they did reboot Strider, by the way.
They did.
Amazing.
Well, they kind of did a remake of Strider almost,
and it was amazing. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, it was a really good game. I mean, here's the thing, like, I mean, taking Strider into a world where, like a third person type of thing. It might be an interesting idea, but I don't know how well that would work. I mean, some part of the charm of Strider is the fact. I mean, to be honest, once you're said and done, I mean, I guess it'll turn into a sort of Metroidvania sort of platformy game. I don't know.
When you're talking about that, I'm thinking about Shinobi, and that was not good. You know, when they did a 3D game of that was not good. You know.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean that Shinobi game is not really a Shinobi game, though. You know,
but it's called but it's called Shinobi.
It's called Shinobi, but I mean, it's not really.
Game.
It's not like the key of it. It wasn't really a Shinobi game anymore. Like at least in the classic sort of sense.
But that's my point. I'm afraid they would do something like that with Strider if they made it 3D. Understand?
Yeah, where they kind of turned it into like a combo fest, like the way they turned that Shinobi.
Exactly. You know, although the cape was cool, I did like the cape.
Yeah, I mean, it was very Strider, but I mean, it would have to be a whole different way to think of the world. That's something that somewhat you know, kind of jumps back to, you know, gives you the feel of the older games, but kind of feels like a new take on it. Like, you know, if you, I guess the best way I can think of is like the difference from, you know, Super Mario Brothers to Mario 64. You know, where you've taken that sort of kind of platforming idea and kind of transitioned it into something something that still feels the same but is in a different environment.
Yeah. By the way, some of the guys in the chat are saying this. I was actually thinking about this the other day. Rival schools.
Rival schools is cool.
They could bring that back, and fighting games are really popular now, so why not?
Yeah, I would love to see. I mean, freaking Capcom has. Fuck rival schools, even though I love it.
Renegade.
No,
Do a
man.
third- do a
Freaking
manual.
Darkstalkers.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Darkstalkers Arc System works.
Actually, I don't know if Capcom owns the license for this anymore, but since the anime is really popular now, bring back JoJo's, man. Remember that?
Well,
that was good.
last people to have JoJo was Namco, and they made a pretty cool series of games.
Yeah, I like the Capcom one, the one you had. That was really good.
The fighting game.
Yeah, that was good. A Disney Gargoyles game by Capcom. That'd be interesting.
We're
talking about their IPs, not Disney, because the guys they're saying Dark Redux. That's not their IP, guys.
Yeah, those games.
Chris don't want that shit.
I mean, let's see, like out of their Capcom games, they said a good idea was like friggin' rival schools, like a lot of those fighting games. Like I don't know. I mean, it's funny because, like, for Capcom, they've been known for like two main things: action adventure games, action adventure games, sort of platformer games, and fighting games.
Yeah,
with a little bit of the other ones in between. Oh, what was the name of that fucking game? Cannon Buster or whatever it's called? Cannon Spike. That was it. It was the game. It was like the top angle sort of the game with Cammy and the Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts.
I vaguely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't.
Power Stone.
Power Stone. You could bring that back. There you go.
They could bring that back real pretty.
Breath of Fire, who says Glorious War.
Yeah, there's go. That's like their one main RPG.
Their only RPG. Yeah, bring that back. Yeah, why not?
Was Power Stone? Did that come out before Smash Bros?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's what I remember. Because I remember playing.
Are you sure about that? Though Smash Brothers came out before that.
No.
Well, Smash was 64. Oh, so I think it did.
I think Smash Brothers came out first.
Yeah, it did because Power Stone was 1999. Man, I'm pretty sure.
That's what I'm saying. I remember
that.
playing it, and I'm like, wow, this is like a Smash Bros, but in a different world. Okay, and it's kind of cool. You kick chairs and shit and trip people up and stuff. It's like a big fight scene.
Okay, this is interesting. Oh, the original game came out in 1999.
Yeah. On Dreamcast.
No, Smash Brothers. So they came out the same year.
Yeah.
Power Stone came out February of '99.
Oh, okay. And Smash Brothers came out January of '99, so they were not inspired by each other at all.
Nope.
But then, here's the thing: the thing is, Smash Brothers is not the same as Power Stone. Although Power Stone 2 is like Smash Brothers, and I didn't like that game.
Whichever one was on Dreamcast is the one that I played.
Well, there's two of them.
Yeah,
there's two of them.
All right.
Yeah, both of them.
You may if it's like Smash Brothers, you probably play Power Stone 2 then.
Then maybe that was it. Because I remember I already had played a Smash Bros. Somewhere. I think it was on a GameCube or something, and I was at somebody's house. I was like, all right. And then later on, when I had my Dreamcast and I got a game, I was like, oh, this is like that game. All right.
Yeah. Any other Capcom IPs?
I wouldn't mind Lost Planet 4.
Oh, Brian, I know he wants that.
If they go back to the original Lost Planet, that was fun. Or even the second one was pretty good. Third went crazy. It was all over the place. People jump in, jump out. It was chaos.
Wouldn't Brian want Dragon's Dogma?
Yeah,
I was just about to say, no one has mentioned Dragon's Dogma yet, so I just kept really quiet.
Isn't that coming?
Well, that is your game right there. That's the Brian game.
Yeah, it's coming out for Switch as well, so it's coming out for everything. Dragon's Dogma, not a sequel, or nice get like a nice a nice HD remaster of it. I know it's like last gen, but I just want to play again with like nice, no, not remaster, remake of it with nicer graphics and stuff. Well, the engine itself was not that great when it came out. It was kind of bad.
Hey, Brian, there you go. Sketch says Dragon's Dogma is a dope game.
I want Capcom to bring back Deep Down.
Oh, shit.
Well, what about that crazy game that they showed? What was that game? The one that looked like it was an arena or some shit? That's looking like Deep Down. That one that they showed last at that little PlayStation thing. It was like this crazy looking night game in an arena. What the fuck game was that? I don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm assuming it's one of those games that goes in one ear and comes out the other for me, you know?
No, it just came. They would just show. We were talking about it on the show. That was That was not Deep Down, but everybody's kind of calling it Deep Down.
Interesting. If you guys in the chat know what he's talking about, please let me know. All right. Moving on here. All right. I think we're gonna know who this guy is just by his new name. Cosby's Commissary Cookies.
AK Spacey's Pleasure Yacht.
Yes.
AK, what is the one before that one?
No, the one. Oh wait, the Spacey's Pleasure Yacht was the first one. Then he came out with another one.
Oh no, he had one before.
Weinstein's something van, whatever.
Oh yeah, Weinstein's van. Yeah, Weinstein's windowless van. Yeah. This fucking guy, man. Okay, this is an interesting question. It's funny, goofy ass name, but he has some really good questions. If a game series that was once an exclusive went multi-platform, do you still have to play that series on the original exclusive platform? For example, Metal Gear Solid was only on Sony, so do you have to feel it belongs on PlayStation, or Dark Souls only on PlayStation because Kingsfield and Demon Souls started on PlayStation? Just to break it down, like let's say you started a series like like Metal Gear on PlayStation system. You always been playing all those games on PlayStation, and suddenly it's out on Xbox One, right? Do you stick on PlayStation, or do you decide, hey, I'm going to get on Xbox? Maybe it has better graphics or something. Do you make that switch? Yes. Switch.
Do you make the switch? I mean, it kind of seems like it ends up going. I mean, I guess if you've made that decision to buy the new console, it's like, hey, look, I bought an Xbox. All right, Metal Gear's coming out for that. Good. I don't need to buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, Final Fantasy is another example. Kingdom Hearts, I think, is coming on Xbox. That would be another example. Like, do you decide like, hey, I've been playing this series on this platform, I'm not switching, or do you not give a fuck?
Here's a weird thing. Like those Kingdom Hearts remasters were never put out on Xbox, were they?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's crazy to think that Final Fantasy was once an exclusive game.
Yeah, it was exclusive on Nintendo first, and then it was exclusive on PlayStation.
But I feel like for a game like Final Fantasy, they're not so dependent on the previous game. They're not depending on the previous game at all.
Man, so you remember how pissed people were when it went over to PlayStation? Like Nintendo fans were pissed the fuck off.
No, they weren't. Nintendo was pissed off about it, but
yeah, no, Nintendo fans were like, "What is this shit?" That's a Nintendo franchise. So anyway, Brett, I'm going to you because I think you probably have a pretty interesting answer. Mr. Murdoch, he's probably talking right now. Can't hear him.
I did, but I totally lost my train of thought.
Oh well.
What was the question again?
Damn it, Brett. All right, I'm gonna give my answer and you'll hopefully form it. Yeah, like for me, because I'm weird like that. Like if I've been playing Metal Gear on PlayStation, I can't just suddenly switch to Xbox. That's just too fucking weird. I need to finish. It needs to stay like that. Now, granted, if it's exclusive on Xbox, I'm like, okay, I gotta jump over now. But generally speaking, no, I couldn't do that. And it also goes the other way around. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Gears of War 5 is on PlayStation. I'm not playing that on PlayStation. I'm playing that shit on Xbox.
I did it with Mass Effect. I beat Mass Effect 1, 2, 3 over on.
Yeah, I'm speaking for myself, but like you don't care, right, Adam?
On the Xbox, no, I don't give a shit. Because the thing is that stuff like this, unless there's something special that carries over, unless it's like, oh, the story will progress based off of actions that you made in the first ones, then okay. But they never do that. Even Telltale games don't really do that, so it doesn't matter.
I played the Mass Effect trilogy on Xbox, and then I played Andromeda.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, interesting. See, if I was in that position, I'd be like, I got to play Andromeda on Xbox, and especially nowadays, like because of achievements and trophies, I'm like, no, you got to keep that shit consistent, But I realize I'm weird like that, so that's probably not everybody.
If you would have asked me that question maybe 10 years ago, I probably would have had a different answer. Yeah. But nah, I don't really care that much anymore.
Yeah, I don't see it.
All right, Brett, did that stir up anything?
Yeah. I don't give a fuck. I didn't even play all 3 Mass Effect games, the original ones, on the same platforms, which did kind of suck between 1 and 2. I was a little bit pissed about that, but
yeah, because of your saves, right?
Yeah. So basically, it made it seem like, oh, you can just basically tell it what you did last time and rebuild your experience. No, there was like 3 generic profiles that you could pull up, and some of the people that I saved weren't saved in the profile. And I was like, the fucking Krogan I saved in the first game, and the second game he was just fucking dead. Everybody's giving me shit about how, I fucking let him die, and I pretty much murdered him by my own hand. I'm screaming at people like, no, I fucking saved him. I saved him. I did everything I could. I managed to somehow talk him down through like a 25-minute dialogue. Go fuck yourself. But no, for the most part, I have no brand loyalty. In fact, I'd go the opposite way and be like, I can't have anti-brand loyalty. If I'm giving you my money, you better fucking prove to me that I ought to continue giving me your money. Otherwise, if you get complacent, I'm going to your competitor. Sorry, that's how the consumer world works. So yeah, like, I may well be an Xbox guy this next generation. Just depends on what they showcase.
By the way, this also extends to franchises I haven't played for the most part. Like Kingdom Hearts, I can't see myself playing that on Xbox. That's just too weird, Like it's like
the best experience, right?
Huh? What happened?
I said it should be whatever gives you the best experience.
Exactly. That's it. That's what I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do it. That's just weird. Actually, in my case, I just played most multiplayer games on PlayStation because of trophies or whatever. But like, I never Kingdom Hearts is so alien to what Xbox is. I couldn't play it on that platform. That's just too weird, But again, that's just me. It's like, no, that doesn't work. Final Fantasy, I'm like, Xbox? No, that's crazy. It's crazy talk. Yeah, fuck BioWare. Damn, tell me how you really feel. Violence and empathy. Shit. Let's see. Sketch says, I would not switch, not even for the most beloved series. Interesting.
Yeah, I can't show that loyalty because they're just corporations. It's all about the best experience for me.
That's interesting. Let me get this straight, Sketch. So if you have, because see, I don't go that far. Like, if my favorite series jumps platforms, I'm going to that platform then. So he wouldn't do it. That's very interesting. But I could kind of understand that, though.
I mean, I feel like you, like, maybe 20 years ago, well, maybe not 20 years ago, maybe like, when we were younger, you would never have done that. You were a total Sega head.
Yeah, no, that is true. Sega for life, baby.
I just don't see the point. If they're not producing something that you want to play and you're like, damn, I would love to play that, but damn, it's not a Sega game. There's nothing holding you back. There's nobody next to you saying, how dare you do this? We're
no, of course not. It's just a personal thing, But for me, it's like for example, like think about like this, like I have all the with the exception of the first game because there's no trophy for it. Assassin's Creed trophies are all on PlayStation. What if I am missing one because I play on Xbox? I fucked up the entire thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you sign in through the Ubisoft account, so that all carries over. They see your status.
Yeah, they see all that. If I can't, there is not one stop shop where I could look at all that shit. I would have to switch over accounts and all that. You know what I'm saying? So that's it would fuck me up. It's like, no, I keep it all the same,
But I mean, for like a game like
even if you knew one was super glitchy and had all these issues, and they were like, yeah, but if you want one that at least works, it's on this one. You would keep playing the super glitchy broken version.
Probably, I did that with Bayonetta. Granted, I didn't have an Xbox 360, but I did play Bayonetta on PS3.
And you did play Far Cry
and Fallout
on PS3. Yeah, I was like, hey, that's my system. Sketch says especially one I do not want to own. Xbox, all the games I get on PC, why waste money like that? Well, yeah, Xbox is a whole different story. Who cares where you play them? You could play them on Xbox or PC,
Really odd, like you have such loyalty to brands like that.
It's not really loyalty to brand. It's more like I like being consistent. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's really about.
It's still loyalty. I mean,
not really. I'm doing this for PlayStation. It's a consistency thing.
If you started on an Xbox, it'd probably be a different story.
Of course, like I said, if Gears of War suddenly went to PlayStation, multiplat on PlayStation, I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep buying that on Xbox. That's where I started it. I'm gonna keep doing that. It's just weird, So that's not really loyalty there, Brian, because it would apply to Xbox. Hey, I said it.
Yeah,
it's
that is weird. It is.
Weird because I just play it on whatever the hell I want to.
And Brian, you're gonna like this one. I have all the Witcher games on PC. Once I start playing them, if they come out Witcher 4, I'm not playing that shit on console because I started on PC. Keep it going. Got to be consistent.
It's just really odd. Like,
Yeah.
That's the way I work,
like,
baby.
I'm just in that situation where now my PS3 is nothing but a machine to play nothing but exclusives and PS10 Plus games because that's all I want to play on it. Because everything else, it's out on PC as well. What's the point?
Yeah.
Like, why spend more to get more restricted experience? Makes no sense to me. Again, you play it on whatever's best, and for me, it plays best on my PC. So, yeah, that's it.
Cool.
If it's something got like an Xbox or PS5 that plays games better, then yeah, play it on what's best.
Glorious Word says he's the same as me, so I guess I'm not the only nut. You know?
No, I mean, there's people all over. I have a buddy of mine who's big on Xbox, and he does the same thing. He'll only play like exclusives on the other system if they're for PS4, but
yeah,
he sticks with all his branding on Xbox. But he's big into Chivos, and so that's his whole motivation behind it.
Dude, I'm even upset that my PS3 games on the side are not consistent. Remember how the box side looked different than, in the first 2 years than it did later? That bugs the fuck out of me. When you look at them, it's like, the labels aren't the same, Or when you buy volume 1 of a book and then you buy volume 2 of the book, if the volume 2 of the book has a different kind of graphic to it than volume 1, it's like it drives you up a fucking wall,
If you were a fan of Monk, that they did that on purpose. Because how Monk is kind of obsessed with things being consistent and clean and stuff like that. So there's one volume of Monk where the side paneling is different than the others, and he did that because of the character.
Yeah, that would destroy me. I hate that.
It's funny, Manny. Remember when I had those 2 big bookcases? It's just the games. I would go through the whole thing of putting them in cases and then the artwork. And then when I moved, literally in one day, I just threw all that shit away. I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, oh well, I just threw them all away and I put all the games in a binder. I was like, fuck it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I can't do that. That hurts. You saying that hurts me on the inside. It's like, no, you got to keep that shit, man.
Well, there's also a caveat behind the
thing. We don't need to talk about that, dude.
But even there's a specific thing.
even when I went legit, and all the other stuff, I just sold them. And when I decided to go full digital, I just sold them all. I only have like a handful, and they're just like collector edition, big box stuff. But all the regular ones, I just chucked it. I was like, I can't bring it with me to the grave. That's it.
Oh man, yeah. Collector's editions and steel bookcases annoy the fuck out of me because they look weird when you put them next to all your other games. Like, no, you're, All right, man. Moving on here. Where are we?
I don't think I answered that question.
Go ahead, Manny.
Yeah, I would. It doesn't. I'm not really that loyal to whatever console is. If it's only on that console, then I'll buy that whatever console that is, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but who else didn't answer the question, by the way?
Carlos.
Go ahead, guys.
Oh, sure. What happened? I heard my name.
Damn, man, shut up.
You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead, man.
I'd say if it's a multiplat thing, I would be consistent with the system I played it on. So like Metal Gear Solid 5, for example, it was on Xbox, and I had both, but I played it on PlayStation. If it's exclusive, I would just play it on the other system. So I wouldn't be mad and be like, damn it.
It is an interesting one with Kingdom Hearts, though, because that one was a purely exclusive series, and now it's actually going multi-platform.
If it's I cared about I don't care about Kingdom Hearts 2, but if I was to play it, I would just buy the PlayStation one.
Yeah, and you're right, Chris, because even last gen when Mass Effect went PlayStation, you're like, no, I'm playing this shit on Xbox. I started on Xbox.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I played all 3 on Xbox.
See, and that's the way I would have done it too, because that just makes more sense to me.
Let me ask you: does it change at all if it goes across generations? Like if you played one game on PS3, right?
Yeah.
And then the sequel, which did not carry over save data or anything like that, came out on both PS4 and Xbox One. You own both systems and knew for a fact that it ran better on Xbox One. Would you still play it on the new PlayStation?
Yes. I didn't have to think about it. Yes.
even though the only thing correlating the two is the brand.
Yes.
There's no cross saves, there's no cross chivos, there's no story extension. The only thing that connects the two is the brand.
Yeah, because when you put them side to side, it's like one's gonna have PS3 on the side, the other one's gonna have Xbox on the side. That's weird. That already kind of breaks the continuity for me. Like PS3 to PS4, that makes more sense if it's the same franchise.
Oh, so you're talking about how they sit on your shelf.
Yes.
What if it was just a digital copy?
But then the achievements would be all scattered on two different systems, so there's no consistency.
Do you
anyway, because it's cross generational?
What happened?
It's going to be scattered across. Like you're not going to have.
No, I understand that, but no, actually, no. If I look at my PS trophies, it shows PS4 and PS3 and PS Vita trophies. So
I got a hypothetical.
Okay. Oh,
Tony.
Yes.
Let's say Mario or Zelda becomes multi-platform, or it's available on the PS4. Would you the new Mario and the new Zelda? Would you play them on the PS4?
That's a good question because that's something I've always wanted. But if they're still available on Nintendo, out of consistency, I would need to play it on the Nintendo system.
Really?
Yeah.
I would get them on PS4 for the cheap.
Yeah.
Damn right I would.
Yeah, no, because I'm like, listen, if it's still available on Nintendo, that's the original thing.
And
I need to play it
and
on
what,
that,
And what if they put it on the PS4 with trophies?
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. That's just too weird. Like,
imagine you get that platinum, son?
No, I can't.
What?
I can't. That's too weird. That's too weird. No, that's too weird.
Are you kidding?
I'm dead serious. That's too weird. That's too weird. I can't do that.
You're playing Sonic? You did with Sonic?
But Sonic had. Is there a Sega system I can play him on?
Yeah, Sega's not making hardware.
I didn't have a choice.
But I mean, still, it's Sonic. You could do that on the Switch. You could just play it on there.
I have it on Sonic Mania. I have it for 3 systems. I wanted that game to succeed. Sonic's a different story. Adam's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, his brain's like.
Sega for Panasonic? You crazy? All right.
No, I was thinking. I found Omnibus.
Oh my man! By the way, that Omnibus, Adam, this told you off. That thing is not available yet, but if you find something, we'll talk after.
I found it. Well, I found the whole collection.
My man, the happy place. All right. Okay? This is another really good question. What console of any given generation would you say has the best quantity and quality of exclusives?
Wait, any generation?
Any generation.
Super Nintendo.
I have 2. I think it's a toss, and I don't know which one yet. To me, it's a toss-up between Super Nintendo and PS2.
Yeah, I would say, I'd say PS2.
I think I'm gonna go with PS2.
I'd say Super Nintendo and PS1 maybe.
Yeah, you remember that one year, the year that will live in infamy, 1998. Every single iconic franchise that we are currently playing is, one of those big iconic franchises of the modern era had come out in that year.
Yeah, you could make an argument for PS1 as well, to be honest. So it's a toss-up between those 3 systems for me: Super Nintendo, PS1, PS2.
I just think that Super Nintendo has the best games out of all those 3.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo had great games. He said quantity
and quality.
PS2 had a bigger library.
Yeah, it did. And remember, a lot of those big games like GTA, Prince of Persia, all these games were all exclusive to PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. So was Super Mario World and Super Metroid.
Yeah, well, I'm not arguing against Super Nintendo. I said that's one of my choices that I'm mulling over.
Yeah.
Because Super Nintendo was crazy. Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Donkey Kong.
Excuse me. No one's bringing up any other thing, so let's do this. PS2 versus Super Nintendo. Who's fighting for PS2? Let's do this.
But that's the thing. I don't know. Okay, you're fighting for PS2, Brett?
I was a huge Super Nintendo fan, but I got to give it to PlayStation.
Excuse me?
Oh man, I feel like there were more games. I'll Google it and see if I'm wrong here.
If you look at PS2 1998.
No, we got to look at the entirety. We're not looking at just one year.
Of it? I mean, yeah, even.
I mean, you can Google Super Nintendo 1995.
Yeah, we're not looking at Super Nintendo 19. We're looking at all of Super Nintendo 1991 to the entirety of its life.
I don't even know what came out the year. You just said.
Yeah. The question is exclusive. And remember, they got to be exclusive games. You know?
I mean, like fucking fuck. Legacy of Kain started on PlayStation.
All right, Brett, are you arguing for PS1 or PS2?
PS1, you were thinking, right?
Okay, that's what you're arguing for, right?
That would be PS1. Yeah, no, I guess it would probably have to be PS1.
Yeah, you're exactly. You know, don't guys in the chat. We know the rules. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
you know?
no. I'm trying to think. I originally said PS2, and now I'm like, PS1 might have had more exclusives. I mean, PS2 had a lot of really good ones, but I think PS1 started off a lot of those good ones.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter where they go, as long as it's like it's stuck in that time. Like for that console, like they're exclusive games.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if like the games are no longer exclusive. They were exclusive back then, so that does count.
A lot of the Nintendo games have been re-released on other consoles.
Yeah, GTA's multiplat now. It wasn't before, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's hard for me. It's a toss up between Super Nintendo and PS2.
So no one wants to champion Super Nintendo. I mean, PlayStation 2.
No, because I'm championing both of them.
Let them fight.
Let them fight.
Yeah, I would think it's like between those three, like they're all really good.
Yeah.
I would have said Xbox 360 until like a lot of their games just like became multiplat later on in the generation.
That same generation, yeah.
But
yeah. All right, I'm gonna go down the line now, because we can't be having all this dead air. Manny, what's your answer?
As far as the best console right?
Which console had the best? Which generation? What console of any generation had the best quantity and quality of exclusives?
I'm going to say. I also have a problem with the Super Nintendo and PlayStation, but I'm just going to go with PlayStation for now.
PlayStation 1 or 2?
PlayStation 1.
Okay, Chris.
I'd say, but I'll split it. Best quality would go to Super Nintendo, but quantity would go to PS2.
Interesting.
So I'd say they thread the line. Like PS2, for me, was like probably the greatest, but still, like Super Nintendo had some fantastic games, so I can't discount it. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's my problem because I objectively speaking, I think the PS2 is the best console of all time, but Super Nintendo was fucking insane. You know.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
yeah.
When you say objectively, you just mean it has the most exclusives, right?
The most and best.
And best?
That's the question. Quality and quantity.
Yeah, quality and quantity. Yeah.
Got to be
said
both.
Like the most and best. Like when you're saying it has the best exclusives, like
but the most. I'm going with the question quantity and quality, dude.
Well, it might have the most. I'm not doubting that because the PS2 had more games than pretty much any console ever made. But like the most best games?
Yes, I'm even going with that too.
So you're that's why I mentioned so you're pitting games against each other now. So you're saying like GTA is better than anything else?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think PS2 had more quantity and quality. Understand?
I understand that, but that's different from what you said earlier.
No, it isn't.
You said it has the best games.
Yeah, but the part of it, I can't discount the quality either. Understand?
No, you're not making sense.
Okay, I'm answering the fucking question. I think you don't understand the question here. The question is which console had the best and most numerous of exclusives, quantity and quality. They both count.
That's what it says.
That's literally what it says. So let's just say, for example, if Super Nintendo had 19 bomb ass exclusives, and PlayStation may have had 30.
Yeah, but I'm saying like PlayStation could have had 30. Well, you said bomb ass exclusives. I guess I would say like which ones way more. Like for example, Grand Theft Auto 3, and Vice City. Like those. I don't know. Vice City wasn't an exclusive anyway. Well, GTA wasn't exclusive. No, they were on PC.
No, GTA.
I got this, guys. Ended it.
GTA 3 came out the same year on PC.
And it came out on Xbox.
No, it didn't. What are you talking about? Eventually.
On the same generation?
It didn't come out the same generation, though.
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't. Came out afterwards.
It came out on Xbox One. Xbox One's the same generation as PS2.
Xbox One. Oh, we mean
OG?
School.
OG.
We're gonna look this up right now.
Everybody's all confused now. Xbox.
Yeah. Now we have to add this stipulation that the game needed to remain exclusive that entire generation. You know.
Yeah, because then I would have mentioned Xbox 360.
Let's see. Yeah. When did it come out on Xbox?
It came out like a year after, or 2 years, maybe. I don't know.
I thought it came out way fucking later.
But it came out on PC, like, not that far off.
Yeah. So we can't count Grand Theft Auto as an exclusive then.
Yeah.
Or okay, so how are we going to tackle that rule? If it eventually, if it stopped being an exclusive that generation, does that make it not count? Is that the rule we're going to go by?
Yeah, because then I would have
Or are we going to go with if it was original exclusive, we're going to keep it as that? What are we going to go with here?
The first one,
because that also cuts out Metal Gear Solid 2. Because
exactly,
Metal Gear Solid 2 was eventually on Xbox. It just was the super version of Metal Gear 2.
So maybe we're gonna have to go with if it was originally exclusive for that.
Because is Mass Effect 2, or I mean, is BioShock an exclusive for Xbox 360? I don't count it as an exclusive anymore because it came out on PlayStation 3.
Yeah, that damn. See, This is tripping me up right now. Because those Super Nintendo exclusives stayed exclusive the entire time. Some of them are still exclusive.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be? Yeah, if you're saying exclusive at the time, yes, I would say. But I mean later, like in other words, how Super Nintendo appears on Sony consoles and Xbox consoles. I don't think those should be.
No, those won't count. But yeah, he's right. Think about it like this: if Grand Theft Auto 3, which was a PlayStation exclusive, if it came out on PC the year afterwards, that's no longer an exclusive anymore.
Yeah.
So that means we have to discount it, right?
Yeah, we probably have to discount it because it's within that generation.
See, if that's the case, then I may have to go with Super Nintendo as a default then, because those games at least stayed exclusive. Prince of Persia, that came to PC eventually.
Doesn't change my answer though, because a lot of those games stayed exclusive.
Yeah, PS1, yeah, you're safe.
PS1, PS1.
So, and even Metal Gear Solid 3 came out eventually on Xbox with the collection. Yes. But that doesn't. But not that generation though. Not that generation though.
Yeah, I don't think it was that.
It only affects 2. It only affects Metal Gear Solid 2 because that was on the original Xbox.
Yes. And by the way, Carlos, I'm purposely trying to avoid pitting games directly against the other. I'm trying to go with the quality and the quantity together. It's like, hey, if PlayStation 2 had 30, Nintendo only had 20. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going purely off of that.
It's much easier to do it that way too, because you can just say it has 30 exclusives and Nintendo.
Plus, I'm not trying to sit here going, "Hey, what's better, Super Metroid or Metal Gear Solid 3?" I'm not trying to go down that fucking rabbit hole.
Super Metroid.
Come on, just slap the shit out of you.
There's stuff that did say exclusive to PS2 though. I mean, the SOCOM series, did that get ported?
No.
The U.S. Navy SEALs didn't get ported. The Dark Cloud series, Dark Cloud 1 and 2. Was exclusive to PlayStation, stayed that way. Let's see. The Tony Hawk's series, was that exclusive?
No.
Skater 3 and 4.
No, it eventually showed up on the Dreamcast.
Shit, I think I may have to change my answer then. I think I'm going to go with Super Nintendo now, because some of these games didn't stay exclusive. Oh well.
In their own generations, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Carlos, you already know your answer. Brian, what's your answer?
I say PS2.
Oh, I thought you were going to say PC.
Yeah.
My PC. A lot of those games stayed exclusive to PC.
And Brett, you're going to go with PS1. You said. Awesome. All right, and Adam.
Xbox 360.
Xbox 360? Okay.
Yeah, that did it for me with just everything that came out during that time with Gears and all the Halo sidekick spin-offs and stuff like that. Really did it for me. And Forza was great.
Halo 2 was on PC, wasn't it?
It eventually did. Yeah. But like Reach and ODST and stuff, it was just...
Yeah, and I think 3 also stayed on Xbox.
Oh, Reach was great.
Cool.
Halo was on a Mac. Remember?
Oh, what, Marathon? You mean?
No,
Marathon.
Halo was on Mac. Remember? Well, Halo was originally announced.
No, it
for
was.
Macintosh.
It was. They were developing. It never came out for Mac. Marathon.
Actually,
They were working for it for Mac, and then Microsoft, when they announced they were doing their console, said, "Hey, can we get that for us?"
years later, it actually did come to Macintosh, which is hilarious.
Because Bungie was like a Mac, like
Yeah, Marathon was a Mac exclusive game.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, go ahead, Brett.
Before I move on, like, are you sure you're remembering all the great games PlayStation offered you?
PlayStation, because remember, I'm not talking about PlayStation. I never played PlayStation, the first one. I only
He never. Yeah, he was in Sega Saturn land.
Yeah. So I only jumped on with PS2, and I still think I made the right choice, man. Sega Saturn was fucking amazing.
He was so when Sega Saturn just kind of pulled the plug on itself. He was so devoted to it. He was like, man, I don't think I'm ever gonna play any video games ever again. That's how.
No. That was after Dreamcast. After Dreamcast died, I honestly thought I was never gonna play video games again. I thought it was the party was over. Like, fuck.
We mourn, but like, so did you ever play the first 2 Legacy of Kain games?
No, I only jumped in with Soul Reaver.
Oh.
You never played those, yeah?
Yeah, I never played those. I tried to play the first one years later. I'm like, I don't know about this.
It was a top angle kind of game.
Yeah,
you never liked those games.
I never liked top, unless it was like Smash TV or something. You know. By the way, before we go on, Glorious Wars is your question 2 questions or is it 1? Because I'm gonna break it up into 2 questions. They sound like 2 questions to me. You know. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm the host. I'm gonna make the rules.
You're doing it live.
Yeah. Okay. So Glorious War. His first question is: in 2013, did you think that this current generation would be so lopsided? I guess he's talking about the fact that PS4 just ran a train on fucking Xbox. You know?
No, I didn't think it was.
I didn't think it was either.
No way.
No.
I thought it was gonna be more even, to be honest.
Not after 360. Even with Dan Metric shoving his foot in his mouth, I didn't think that would happen.
No,
Nope.
I thought like, okay, it has its issues. It's gonna do, Microsoft and Xbox is gonna do what like PlayStation 3 did. They're gonna kind of, they start off a little slow. People are gonna be a little annoyed at it, but then eventually they're gonna make, set all that stuff on the wayside and put out some brilliant ass games because they have the uphill battle. And they have the most to gain out of it, as opposed to just kind of staying in the same, like waiting underneath the surface, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, but that did not happen.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you figured like Xbox was going to come back after that fucking abysmal launch, but no.
Well, it's like watching 2 guys like in a boxing match, and it's a back and forth. And then one guy gets dropped hit the stomach and drops. You're like, oh, that was a bad one. He's going to get up in a second, though. Any minute now.
Exactly.
Any minute now. He's going to get back up, and this thing's going to keep going. Seriously, this is like the 3rd round, dude. Get up.
Yeah, and then the ref comes by. He's like, hey, guys, he's been dead the whole time.
Like, I expected Xbox to get a little bit like, I was like, man, they're gonna have trouble regaining the lead, but I did not expect the severity, nor did I expect Nintendo to also come in and start kicking Microsoft in the ribs.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I bet you forgot about me. I'm gonna punch you in the belly and kick you in the balls, eh?
To continue the boxing metaphor, it's then like something like you're getting your ass handed to you, you drop down on the ground, and a midget runs out and starts beating the shit out of you too.
Well, then it becomes WWE then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not a boxing metaphor anymore.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be real. With the exception of Brett here, none of us predicted what was going to happen with Nintendo. I thought that thing was fucking dead on the water. The Switch, I'm like, who the fuck's going to buy that shit? Boy, was I wrong. Yeah.
Yo, man, y'all eating some crow.
Oh, yeah, I ate that shit with sazon, though, adobo, But I ate that motherfucking crow.
At least for sure it tasted good when it went down.
But I ate that motherfucking I ate him and his brother.
Does that make it Crowdobo?
Ooh, I like that. Crowdobo. Yeah, man. I had to eat him, son. I had to eat him and his family, as a matter of fact.
I thought.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, just get into my question. So like, if you want to continue.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I thought, yeah, this generation did not turn out. The point is that this generation did not turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out at all. You know, from Sony completely just running a train on Xbox to Nintendo's meteoric comeback. It's like, I didn't see this shit coming. You know,
it just seemed like this generation was sort of like a test bench for the next generation for Microsoft.
Man,
it's like if you think about it, like one of the narratives now that is sort of like stretching on with like fanboys and shit. It's like, oh well, they're acquiring these studios for the next generation. It's like, yeah. Then what the hell was this generation for then?
It was the calm before the X storm.
It was the generation where they learned their lesson. I guess,
but they know it's just. People know the turnaround rate for games is not quick.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Phantom Vash who's in here. Great comment. And I agree with him. He goes, PlayStation and Nintendo are both worldwide brands versus Xbox, which is a regional brand. That is also true. You know.
But Microsoft is a worldwide brand.
Microsoft is. Xbox is not. You know. I think that's
that's not for lack of trying.
It isn't.
Yeah,
it isn't. They tried.
Their choice.
Yeah, they tried. They tried.
Ryan, didn't Xbox One do early on? I mean, wasn't it doing pretty well out in the UK?
It was doing actually quite decent.
It's still a big deal there.
It's only Japan's market that Xbox does poorly.
Mm-hmm.
The Asian market, like in Japan, and Microsoft made the effort. I mean, they tried. Dragon Maid and all this. They were getting exclusive Japanese RPGs, and nobody cared. Yeah, that's the only market they fail in.
The Japanese market is, let's be honest, a wee bit nationalistic.
Yeah, a wee bit.
Only a little. Yeah.
A wee bit.
You know,
it's
just a smidge.
Slightly.
Yeah. All right. And then the next question. Do you remember the death of console gaming in the pre-2013 and PlayStation? I remember hearing all the bullshit talk like, oh, consoles are dead. Consoles are dead. We heard all. And by the way, that same talk is going on right now, which is hilarious. Every fucking generation. Console gaming said console gaming. And then we came back with one of the strongest console generations of all time. You know, PlayStation 4
we got two consoles.
Yeah,
we got two consoles per generation. This generation.
Yeah, think about that. You know, and that goes for Nintendo too. If you think about it, the Wii U and the Switch both came out this generation. You know,
gaming journalists' view of the end of gaming is kind of like anime's view of an apocalypse. It's just a megaton that makes everything look different. It's not actually the end of something. It's more of a transition. Like Akira is technically supposed to be post-apocalyptic. No, but okay.
No, there's nothing post-apocalyptic about Akira. At least where it ends, because you know, obviously the comic that after that all that shit with Akira happens, after that point, that's when it becomes post-apocalyptic. But that movie, no.
Well, in the sense that, you know, because of the bombs being dropped, not to sidetrack too much, that literally seemed to the culture like a kind of end or a transitional point, but then life continued on. So they don't view an idea of like an apocalypse in the you know, Judeo-Christian way that we do. Like it's the final end. It's an end. And I think gaming journalists need to understand that just because something ends in the way that we know it doesn't mean it's not going to continue to exist in a way that is similar and still addresses all those needs. Like, yes, in a certain way, gaming as we knew it has died. We get so many of our titles digital. Games release half-baked. They're continuing ongoing things where we pay you know, transactions to continue the gameplay. You know, Spider-Man, season passes, things like that. Like, a lot has changed. And in a certain way, you could look back at it and say, like, well, I mean, if you just jump straight from 1996 to now, yeah, it's a totally different thing. We don't buy magazines and stand in line outside of fucking stores waiting for new consoles to release and shit like that. Like, it's not the same thing, but it's still the same thing. It's just wearing a different face.
By the way, to be fair, the whole narrative of consoles are dead isn't perpetuated by journalists. It's perpetuated by analysts. They're the ones always saying that shit. Every fucking end. Oh, yeah, that's it. It's over. It's over. People buy mobile. That's it. It's over. It's over. And then we had, again, the PlayStation 4 was the biggest one. It's like one of the biggest launches out there. And like Carl said, we had 2 of every system. But this was it. This was the last generation. You know, and now they're saying the same shit again. The same exact analysts that had it wrong the first time or the third time, I guess, because they always say this shit. It's hilarious.
If analysts could be trusted, the stock market would be stable.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah,
that's what most trades and valuations are predicated on. So they honestly, they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground a lot of times, and unless they understand the market, which a lot of times analysts don't. Like if we had specific dedicated video game industry analysts, they would do better than some of these other people. But a lot of these people are just loosely associated with what they're analyzing, so they don't understand how to interpret the data. And context is super important. I mean, how many times has Chris just explained the shit out of something and broken down an argument just by adequately breaking down the facts in a way that's different than somebody else spun them to you?
I always keep saying Chris needs to get paid, man, unlike these other guys, you know.
Right? I mean, no, that's a very good point. Like Chris is able to accurately interpret data, and he's familiar with the industry, which is why he's genuinely 98% more successful than these fucking analysts, because they're only looking at the numbers. And if you only look at the numbers, it tells a different story. But that's a problem that just has to do with analysts in general, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, console gaming is dead, according to them. It's fucking insane.
To Nintendo.
You know, for real, man, it's crazy. All right, we're about to wrap up. So anybody has any last minute questions, get them in here. Fanbash, I'm looking at you. You haven't asked those questions in a very long time, friend. So while we're doing that, let's vamp about something.
Let's talk about some shit.
Gotta have some.
I can keep like vamping on about the whole like console dead thing.
Go ahead, Brian. What's your thoughts on that, man? Yeah, go ahead.
Again, like I was very interested in like as to why people were saying that consoles were dead. It's like, okay, we just had, again, this was coming off the back of last gen, and then we had like 3 successful consoles. Like we had the 360, the PS3, and we had the Wii, and the Wii. And hence it's like, why are consoles dying? Like this was a rare chance where all platforms have done really well. Like I think like the lowest selling was like the Xbox 360 was like over 80 million. And it's like, how does that mean that things are going downhill? It's like the lowest had one of the highest sales that we've seen, and all did well. Like it made no sense. So I was really confused. I was like, okay, let's see where this is going. And I looked into what they pulled from, and it just came from the idea of like, okay, people are buying more mobile phones and people are gaming more on mobile. Okay, that's fine. That's true. We are seeing like a rise of mobile gaming. That's fine. But is it enough to kill the consoles? I don't think so. Because again, most people that buy a console, they like the idea of, hey, you plug in a box underneath your TV, you put a console, you put a controller in your hand, and then you play.
And it's different
phones
quality.
don't do that.
Brian,
By the way, Brian, you said where did they pull that from? They pulled it from their ass. That's where they pulled that from.
No. They generally seem like, again, like mobile gaming was on the rise. Like it was getting increasingly like more popular and was generating a lot more revenue than prior years.
Yeah, but they made an assumption that would somehow overlap.
Yeah, that part was
console gaming,
overtake.
Yeah,
yeah.
That part was dumb.
Yeah, it's like saying having streaming on your phone is going to kill television sales.
By the way, they're saying streaming gaming is going to kill console right now. Anyway, go ahead, Brett.
I think what you guys are missing, a couple key things to interpret about the data here. Number one, tablet sales have been exponentially increasing year after year, along with phone sales. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but chairs actually sell at almost twice the rate of couches. So if you actually interpret the data, it's very clear. Living rooms are dying.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. You know,
I think this is the exact same thing as everybody's saying. Like, you're interpreting the data and you're cherry picking your facts in a way to, well, it's not even cherry picking facts. It's just picking the lowest hanging fruit facts and then just running with it. It's because you're not doing in-depth analysis of the industry.
Or, okay, there's a little bit tinfoil hat stuff of mine. Do you think maybe they're making these predictions to make whoever they're beholden to happy? Just no. I don't. Again, tinfoil. I'm just thinking, like, okay,
They're
these
not
guys
beholden to anybody though, and
then you don't know that.
Well,
behind the scenes, you don't know that.
No, it's like paying a fortune teller to divine the future in rabbit bones. Like, it doesn't matter if the forecast is ill omens or fortune. Like, they still get paid. The question is, are they a fucking charlatan? And I think that in the case of a lot of analysts, it's yes, they loosely interpret data very basically and be like, well, I mean, look at how many like political analysts there are and how often they're wrong. And they just go, well, that's the case of the industry. It's like, yeah, you are paid to be a glorified wild ass guesser. Like, you don't even know half the time, and people actually involved in the industry will be able to tell you better. I mean, one of the things, this is the difference if you're talking in financials here, between somebody who just blindly invests in stocks that their friends tell them are doing good versus the person that goes out there and looks at the factory and checks through the financial sales data and then decides like, yes, I think this is a prudent prospect. Like, one guy is actually going to get the correct picture. The other guy is going to hear cryptocurrency is big this year and he's going to bet on Bitcoin. And there's a huge difference, but you see both things being reported. In fact, most of the time you'll see, all you hear is bank on Bitcoin, bank on Bitcoin, bank on Bitcoin. But the thing I would caution people is that, a savvy man, I'm going to use Chris here as an example, as he has a penchant for number crunching. If Chris were to invest money, Chris, how would you invest it? Would you invest it based on what you hear is hot right now, or would you do your own research?
Well, I do my own research. I mean, like, crypto doesn't have any precious metal or anything holding it up, right? Its valuation is completely based on calculations on the blockchain and whatever. So its value is completely arbitrary, right? So if you were to ask me, well, what would you invest in? I would buy gold or silver or something that actually has value and retains value. I wouldn't buy that.
Oh, somebody fiddling with something in the background? Yeah, I noticed how as soon as I say it, it stops. I like that shit. Nobody knows. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you, Fan and Vash. We're gonna answer your question. This is a good one. Kind of related to something we were talking about privately earlier. How many of the Throwdown crew plan on picking up Dreams when it comes out this year?
He must have seen my post about Dreams.
He may have.
He
says he's in the beta right now, and it's crazy.
It's Glorious War.
Oh, okay. So, but Manny, there you go. Somebody in our room. Glorious War is in the beta.
Yeah, I mean,
don't worry, dude. He goes, he can't talk about it for obvious reasons.
Of course, yeah, you can't talk about it here. Yeah. Yeah, there's another person who also said about it that on there too, or they were on the beta. So yeah, I mean, it's looking interesting. I mean, I would love to make something in it, but I don't know if I even have the time to make something in it.
What is it? Is the like?
It's essentially, you know what it is? It's a game development tool.
I get that.
It's almost exactly like Little Big Planet. If you took the idea of Little Big Planet and it expanded it immensely, like, okay, here's some of the shit that they made in it. They literally remade Little Big Planet in there. Like, for the anniversary of Little Big Planet, they're like, yeah, we made Little Big Planet in Dreams. And the big thing that's come out now is the fact that somebody actually made the PT in Dreams as well. It's been all over all over Twitter. Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, the one thing about it is, like, it's weird about it. It's like, now the beta's only been available since the 9th. So either this guy is a developer himself, or they actually in those 11 days they've actually programmed PT.
So, like, do you get to like compile any behavior or dialogue, physics?
You get pretty much a game development tool. I mean, with the exception of some certain things you don't have as a game developer, but everything else, yeah. Like, you can create logic, you can create all kinds of crazy shit, and they've demonstrated it a few times. So you don't even need to make a game. You can make a film with it, which is crazy. So, I mean, like, I'd love to do it, but I mean, I definitely would think about it. But I mean, at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I have the time if I really wanted to do something really cool with it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love love building shit and like landscaping, and like my favorite things to do are, you know, like build settlements and landscape, and like landmark was a huge thing of mine, and like it's one of those things. To me, it's akin to painting. So
and it works with PSVR.
Nice. So I could see myself like world building in it, like this, the same way a person would paint a landscape, but you know, just paint like, you know, like here's a boggy swamp, or here's like, you know, a mountaintop sunset kind of thing. Like I can see myself building that, but then going through all the minutia of compiling it into a game. I don't know. I imagine if it is what you sound like, I can expect to see a lot of really cool creations.
So far, from what I hear, there has been some pretty damn. One person said they saw a Dark Souls remake on there.
Jesus.
What?
Yes, like at least a level of Dark Souls that this person made.
Man.
Yeah.
That is
So
crazy.
it's a pretty powerful kind of
Well,
tool.
if it's that powerful, I'd probably try it out. I'd probably support that shit because I wanted Project Spark to be something, and then
Can you share those creations?
It works exactly the same way as the original Little Big Planet, where they have a
community,
like
and you can
community, and you can put all your things on there. And it's like, for at least from the way they explained it, it was like they also, not only do they just have games, but also, let's say there's a 3D model that like you need characters to populate your game with. They also have areas like that too. It's like, oh hey, look, this is a character all rigged up to dance around or do stuff or be a character. There's some of the other things they showed in there is like somebody made a first-person shooter in there. All kinds of crazy shit.
Assets as well.
You make your own. There are assets within it, but there also you can create your own assets.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So like, let's say, okay, so they're not going to have, say, pole dancers, right? But like, let's say somebody wanted to make a Duke Nukem type game. Yes. And they wanted to model pole dancers. So they took all the time to like model this girl dancing on a pole, nothing graphic or anything, nothing breaks any rules. Would they be able to upload just that asset so other people could use it in like a Blade Runner type level?
And add girl and do all that.
Yep.
See, that's one of those things that's going to grow exponentially, because assets, if you can download ready-made assets, like, man, I need a hover car. Has anybody made a hover car? They have, and pull it and drop it into your game. Like that.
That's
cool.
That's the sort of stuff that they're looking for. They're like,
it's like Unreal Engine.
Yeah, it's pretty much like it's not as extensive as like, let's say, an Unreal Engine, but it is along those server lines where you can do so many different things inside of it. But it's also supposedly made in a way that it's very easy to understand.
Are they allowing multiplayer?
Yes, they're well, at least for the Little Big Planet thing that they made, it had four player co-op that they built on it.
Nice. I wonder if anybody's going to.
I don't know if the online. I don't know if there's an online for it, but maybe there is.
I'm curious, because if there is like a multiplayer or online, I think it's only a matter of time before people start building social hubs.
Yeah.
And building games off of those social hubs, which is cool, because like I liked the idea of what PlayStation Home wanted to be, but it was so terribly executed. I like the idea of a game where you can even pop into a social hub or a lobby, and then it just branches out from there. You know, it kind of gives you a Ready Player One experience where you can even then be like, oh, this is the character that I had. I pull them into the lobby, and then I pull them into this other game, and I pull them into a Western. And that could be really, really cool. And Little Big Planet has had a lot of success. I mean, it's one of the things where you're like, how many people are really going to make levels? And then 6 months later, you're like, holy fuck, everybody has.
Yeah. Even Tony made a level.
Yeah, I needed that trophy.
I think you put like, what was it? You made one of those like you put one thing in it and then you published it, and it was like, hey, it's
done. That was it. I didn't care because I don't care about that shit. I just wanted my trophy. I wanted to get that platinum.
I think the one thing about Dreams is it's gonna be like, I'm sure it's gonna definitely, just like Little Big Planet, it's gonna have its own like normal mode where you just kind of play through the levels, and it kind of almost trains you how to use their program.
Yeah, but, because I'm just. By the way, this is me showing that I'm not a fucking pony. This is a exclusive PlayStation game. I'm not interested at all. I don't care about making games. Like, I want to play a game. I don't want to make a game. Like, I want to see what people do, obviously, because I think it's pretty cool. I just don't want to deal with that stuff.
I think it's definitely like it's and in general it's a huge time sink.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much, man.
If you want to make something really nice, you got to put in the effort. I mean,
yeah.
It's funny because we talk about like Little Big Planet. I did create a game, a game design, but I couldn't. It just took so long to get a lot of the shit to work for me, so I abandoned the project.
Yeah. Anybody else interested in this game? Crickets. I'm gonna tell you it's not. Yeah. So just Bread and Manny, I guess. The artist actually makes a lot of sense. The artist,
does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. The artist wanted,
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I fully understand that the game is not built for everybody. Like, it's like there's just, like, I feel like for Media Molecule, their most general audience like sort of game that works was the game Tearaway, where it was literally just a platformer where you did little bits of creation, but not like like this.
I think it depends on how easy they make the tools to create too. Like if they can drop Skybox in here, it looks pretty simple, but I mean, obviously it's just like anything the more time you put into it, the more complicated you can make things. I mean, like for Little Big Planet itself, they literally were making like things that play music and stuff like that. They were making like for Little Big Planet 2 and 3, they were making like shoot 'em up games and all kinds of other crazy games in there. Well, and I think that one thing to remember about this is I think you'll probably see very few games that are really heavy on the gameplay aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the Minecraft audience. Think about the people that build giant, music machines or castle cities or replicas of the city from Game of Thrones or something like that. Or, I built Mordor, the Harry Potter castle, and then they want to share it on social media. I mean, This game is by nature mimetic. And I think that they're trying to pull all of those people, because there's a huge well of people who are not necessarily professionally creative, but they're crafty, they're home creatives, they're amateur artists, and if it gives them the correct tools to like let somebody who isn't necessarily amazing at design be able to create this really intricate thing, there's a track record that shows that people are really into that. And if they can grab that Minecraft audience, but let's be honest, Minecraft has to be getting stale to pretty much everybody at this point. And there's not enough.
I would think that people would, at least would want to create a game that looks, like a modern game, as opposed to kind of like, a PlayStation game, a whole PlayStation game, blocky characters and stuff like that.
Even then, like Minecraft has the limitation of like, okay, so I built, I rebuilt a city from Morrowind in it. That's cool. I can take pictures. I can share it on Reddit and shit like that. But if you can like link to it or give some sort of, web address or code or something that allows people to actually go into it, and like maybe there's a graveyard outside. Maybe you kind of put some zombies in there. Maybe you put some cool treasure and stuff at the top. Like maybe you make it more of an interactive walkthrough kind of thing, where it's not so much a game, but you go through like, oh yeah, there'd be zombies here, and like, oh yeah, if you kick that thing over, like it catches fire like it does in the movie or whatever. I think people will do a lot of interactive set pieces like that because they already do, and the ability to then let somebody walk through it and interact with it is going to put it over the top.
Hey, Brett, Phantom Vash wants you to know that one of the Media Molecule developers designed his wedding reception inside of Dreams.
Dude, I mean, it sounds like a really powerful tool. And, I don't underestimate the amount of, like I said, Fallout, for example, like the building system in it was so janky, but so many people loved building shit, the biggest, craziest shit they could figure out or the most ridiculous stuff, and then sharing it everywhere. I think that's a really powerful component to gaming. I think that's one of the things that makes things like Fortnite successful. And I think that you'll probably see a whole lot of videos start popping up about how to make things in Dreams or walkthroughs of people building things. Because
Dreams could potentially be PlayStation's Minecraft if you think about it.
I mean, it's essentially their Minecraft and their like essentially the next eventual step from Little Big Planet,
Yeah, because it's, I guess you could mark it as like Minecraft with good graphics
and the ability to build a game. I mean, like you kind of present it as the ability to build a whole game, knowing that a lot of people peter out at about 40%, just build a cool castle, but then they can have their friends come over to the cool castle, be like, dude, I love how the light streams through the the glass window, like, oh yeah, I had to set my son to 7 p.m. for, and then it really kind of sets off the shadows. Like, if you give people really easy tools, they'll be surprised by how easy it is, and they'll be impressed by the things they make. They'll surprise themselves, so they'll be compelled to share those. It's don't be at all surprised if I use SharePlay to be like, hey guys, you want to come check out the level that I made? And if like, man, you see something, of course I'm going to jump, or make something, of course I'm going to fucking jump in and see it. Fuck it, man. If somebody just comes out and like, yeah, dude, I just did a level that was like, Gotham fucking City rooftops, and you're like, dude, that's cool. Pop in there, check that out, and jump to the next one. You find some cool stuff, and you send some stuff to friends. But like, oh yeah, but then the guy, designed a basic level, and now he actually added some gameplay, so you can swing around and beat a bad guy as Batman now. Like, oh, cool, I can check that out. I mean, the option of the possibility here for this thing to grow is pretty good. It's a question of whether or not the fire is going to start, but if it does, man, I can see this being a big thing.
The fire rises.
I mean, we did. I mean, here's a funny thing. Like, we actually did see a performance in Dreams at the E3, which is kind of nutty, where they designed this whole thing where they were literally playing the music with the game.
Yeah, we saw it on the stream, man. It was like a really powerful wallpaper for it.
Yeah, because they didn't tell us what that was.
Yeah,
screensaver.
Yeah, those things when there were actually being. Well, no, those little interludes, those were weird because we even saw those on the show floor, and during the event, and we didn't know what those were. But at the end, they had a whole full performance with the people on the stage.
Huh. How do you guys can see it?
Yeah, I know. Not an effective way to sell things to people, to be honest, Tony.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious about their marketing campaign because I don't think a lot of people. They haven't been very clear with it, and I think the problem with broadcasting their message is there's a guy in an invisible space, and he snaps his fingers, and there's a tree that's raining petals, and boom, there's a piano. Like, okay, none of this means anything to me because I've seen video games that have been made by professionals before. Like, unless you actually show me like a demonstration of, look, I can drop in a world, and here's a graveyard, and then I can drop in these assets and set a purple sky, and then I drop these enemies in and set their level to aggressive in a radius of 25. Within 10 minutes, I've got a spooky, Halloween graveyard scene that as you walk up, things pop out. And now would be a really smart idea for them to get people interested in this game, to hire a bunch of famous video game developers to design levels within the game. Like, in other words, you get Hideo Kojima, you get a bunch of high profile guys to do something small inside of the game. Whatever they dream.
Get your boy Jaffe in there, man.
Yo, man, get David Jaffe in there, man. See what he's doing.
Also, get some non-professional game developers in there.
Exactly.
I want to see what Ninja does, man.
Yeah, hire some indie independent developers too. Like,
dude, even fucking Twitch streamers. I fucking hate to say it, but like Tony said, if Ninja can make something cool, we all can do it.
Oh God, that's true.
Ninja can make something cool.
No, we can't because we don't have 14 hours a day to do it.
Yeah, but they don't have to tell you that part. That would be where they suck. I think it would be.
Hey guys, Ninja made this. Oh, sorry,
I'm Ninja, and I made this shit for you. Oh,
here's the floor stands. Fuck out of here, man.
Oh, what's the hate?
If they put Ninja on there, number one.
Oh no, I know, bro. That's why I'm mad.
There's so many videos on his channel about here's how I made this. Here's how I made this. And that's kind of cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Half the fun of Kerbal Space Program is looking up videos on how to build something before saying, fuck it, that looks too complicated, and adding more struts. But that's part of the actual fun of the game is researching and actually having to figure out, like, what is your Delta V? Like, how the fuck do you actually do a slingshot orbit? It forces you to do actual research outside of the game. So I think some games have this new component to them of community that exists entirely outside of the game. And I think Fortnite is probably the biggest proponent of that, with people talking about it, people YouTubing it, people watching tutorials, people posting about it. Like, 25% of their time playing the game is actually playing, or 25% of their time is actually playing the game, but they consider all of it Fortnite-based activities.
When you guys were doing that voice, the first thing that just came to my head was like, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, guys, let's do flossing.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, right.
Don't forget to smash the like button.
And this is the part where Brian comes in and says, it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, like, how many times have we seen something like this happen and not go anywhere? Like, last thing was Minecraft, but Minecraft was
Minecraft went somewhere. Yeah.
No, Minecraft is actually doing
again,
well.
Last one was Minecraft, and what have we had since then? We've had like
Project
3 Little Big Planets. We've had Project Spark. All these have just been like.
Well, no, I mean, Little Big Planet had quite a extensive
But it didn't take off as well as you guys are saying.
No, it didn't. It was never.
Well as you guys are thinking that this one will take off as.
No, I'm not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No. See, I think that's where you have it wrong. I do not think this will be the end all be all of everything. I think it's going to be a very difficult and a very hard sell for people. It's already hard to get people to understand what this thing is. Even back when it was announced, when the PlayStation 4 was announced, people didn't know what the fuck it was. So it's gonna be a definitely a hard sell. And it's funny that how long it's taken them to make this thing. You know,
it also doesn't have huge mass appeal. I personally
no, it doesn't.
It's the equivalent of a cult classic. Like there will be a group of people that are just super fucking into it.
AKA a brag game.
Yeah, not necessarily particularly my brand of game, but yeah, like it'll have a very narrow audience, but I also think that it'll have sustainability. And I think one of the biggest problems with Little Big Planet, at least a lot of people that I played, or I kind of tried to get the game to play, or tried to get to play the game, was they're like, man, I'm not really a fan of side scrollers. Like I heard that way more than you would think, and people just didn't want to jump into it because of that.
Well,
now, if you have the option for it to be any kind of game, you might get different players.
You know what game blew up? That's kind of like this is Mario Maker. That game.
Yeah, that's true.
People went crazy for it.
But and Mario Maker, you know, the one thing about it, it's very much like a Little Big Planet.
Yeah,
you can make a side scroller, but it's still it uses those familiar things. I mean, Mario Maker has that familiarity of the Mario universe.
Brian, what were you saying?
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Like, I'd say that the reason why that like took off was because again it was tied down to Mario name. Like you can put Mario on anything and it will damn sell because it is just Mario.
Except for Mario's missing.
Yeah, it's like what do you tie to dreams? Like, hey, you know those things you have every night? You know what I'm saying? There's no marketing behind it. I don't know.
It's very difficult. It's a simple name, and it's very difficult to sort of explain what it is. You know, people are also wondering if it's actually a game. You know what I mean? Like, is it just a game creation tool? You know, it's very, at least with the Little Big Planet, you got the idea. It's like, okay, it's a side-scrolling game that has this sort of, thing where you can make your own games.
Yeah, like Little Big Planet, like it had a campaign, but the best part of the best levels were the ones that the people created, not necessarily the ones that developers made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember playing a Dead Space one for Little Big Planet. That was pretty cool. Guy made a little Dead Space map.
Excuse me?
Yeah, and like, are they going to have like crossover deals, like crossover characters and like costumes? Because I know that Little Big Planet had like costumes for other games.
That's what I was getting. I forgot what I was going to say. It's because they were those publishers were releasing content and different aspects so you can create those type of worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for Metal Gear, you got like Metal Gear themed stuff, and I don't know how well. I don't know if they're going to be doing that in this one, which we'll see, but. So, am I going to get dreams? Yeah, I'll get dreams.
Good dreaming.
I'm dreaming right now.
Yeah, I'm going to get it too.
Manny, you can make Dimension Warriors.
Dude, we could do that.
Oh man, it's hilarious.
Our longly awaited game, Dimension Warriors.
I mean, Brian could make Shooter Man.
There you go.
I already did.
Again,
he already did.
At 2.0.
Yeah, he already did.
No. Development team that made Shooter Man.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't actually play Shooter Man.
Shooterman remaster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Shooterman 3D, Shooterman 3D, Brian. There you go.
Would be hilarious. Like if you did release it, you just called it like it was a sequel to a game that already existed that didn't ever existed.
Yeah,
Shooterman Revisited or Shooterman Remastered.
Shooterman Revelations.
There you go. Yeah,
there you go. Or Origins, right?
Shooterman Origins.
What the fuck are you gonna have a subtitle like Shoot Again?
Yeah.
Shooterman.
Yeah, Shooterman 3D. That's the one I think you should.
It's got to be Shooterman. It's got to sound like that. You can't say it like Shooterman. You gotta say Shooterman.
So I'm gonna for the music. I want to do the music for the game, and it's just beatboxing in the background.
What's funny is I imagine you can probably actually do just about all of this.
They have they said they also have a really robust music tool within the damn thing. So I mean,
yo, man, who needs a music tool when you got Adam? Adam, hit us with something, man. Come into dreams, man. Let's go.
Come into your dreams. You know, it's funny when I've heard the name of the game, I almost thought of it. Just sounded like something that Peter Molyneux would make.
In dreams, you can make the greatest game. You can make any game you want. Any game that you can dream.
You can make anything you could dream. If you want a tree to be planted and grow,
you know what? They should put that little boy in it. Remember the little boy?
Yeah, Milo?
Yeah, Milo.
Yo,
He's an Xbox exclusive, don't you know?
Yeah, no, isn't Milo like a teenage boy now or something, man?
He probably is.
But nah, he's in college right
now.
now.
How old is Milo?
See, you guys are dismissing the ability for stupidity and hilarity. Like, I'm already considering the things I could do. Like, dude, I might make a throwdown game where you have to go through and battle each of us until you finally fight Tony.
Oh shit! I like what Phantom Vash said. He goes, Brian can have the Throwdown record the voiceovers for Shooterman 3D. That is true. But yeah, right. We could make Throwdown the game. You know, and all of us are
down the game.
You know, all of us are boss bad or like bosses you could fight. You know, it'll be crazy. You know.
Yeah. Let us know when you're done with that, bro.
Play Throwdown the game in dreams.
In dreams. You know, we'll give somebody.
I mean, honestly, if you put give me a few weeks, I'll come up with something.
Yeah, if you guys actually manage to do that, we'll give you a prize. We don't know what it is, but that's the contest right now. Make a Throwdown game for dreams. Let's fucking go.
We'll send you an actual game.
You can
play. Send you a game that you don't need to play.
We'll send you a real game instead. How about that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a really. I still feel like it's a very hard sell, and even now, like after that game has been in development as long as the PlayStation 4 has been out. That is one of the games that they announced on that first thing. That's insane. How long has it been?
All right, Manny, Mark Cerny announcing Dreams.
I would like to show you this new game called Dreams. It is the foremost of games that has ever been made. You can make any game inside of it.
Every time I play, I cry.
I've even created a game right now. It's called Marble Madness.
By the way, this is interesting. Phantom Vash says that a lot of Media Molecule is made up of former Lionhead devs. So there's your Peter Molyneux connection.
There you go. So we're gonna see Milo.
Even Peter Molyneux's in there. It's like, yes, I'm even working at Media Molecule as well. I'm making the new sequel to Populous inside of it.
Okay, now I need to see somebody make the game Peter Molyneux was talking about, where you can play. Like, the whole point of the game is that you plant a tree and watch it grow.
Yes.
Oh, you mean make Fable inside of it?
Yeah, no, we're gonna make that game specifically. Like in this game, you can plant a seed and watch it grow for 20 years.
But that's literally all you can do.
That's the whole game. That's nothing else. Just plant a tree. That'd be awesome.
We call it Peter Molyneux's plant a tree.
Yes.
No, just Peter Molyneux's dream.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
If you really want to go there is already a game on PC like that, where you just watch the tree just spin around. I shit you not, it's an actual game on Steam, and it has like really good rating.
Really?
That's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, it's not funny, Tony. It is fucking depressing.
Yeah. No, it just goes to show if it exists. You know, if it exists in somebody's head, it's a game on Steam. Oh God! All right, man, we're gonna wrap this up. some good stuff. Oh yeah, I completely forgot that we have a contest going. I got to give you guys Vermintide code, so we'll do that on Thursday. You know, just one of you guys remind me before that, because I completely fucking forgot. You know. All right, so thank you for watching and listening. Leave us a questions in the comment section of this episode on YouTube or over on the Coalition. We'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Throwdown Show at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show host Tony Polanco. 10 hours written by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Today I bought my plane tickets to New York.
Oh shit! Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, son.
New York.
Coming up, Adam, right?
Yep. Coming up.
Mr. Brett Murdoch.
My mini boss is gonna spit hot fire.
Literally.
Oh man, Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people. Avoid
And
the snow.
and Brian Manjoma.
I'm really surprised by a lot of people out there who are openly into killing babies.
Okay.
Oh.
Went over my head.
Save it for the after show.
Save it for the after show, man. Let's go.
Oh, when you hear, you'll be like, "What the fuck is wrong with people?"
All right, man. I got to find out about these Conan comics. So I'll talk to you guys later on. Peace.
Peace.
Later, guys.